Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is Transformational Tuesday, you guys, and we're talking about the permission to shine today. Listen, um, today is Tuesday, right? Our Transformational Tuesday, and permission to shine. All right, listen, you don't need another title. You don't need another confirmation. You don't need permission to rise. Listen, you are already called, right? Now it's just time for you to say yes. Again, we're talking about how to unlock your potential. We're talking about how to unlock your potential in this month. And then this week is all about what is this week about? Open to possibilities. I be wanting to say open minded, right? Being open to possibilities, which is really changing from this fixed mindset to this growth mindset, right? That the possibilities is there. And so yesterday we talked about stories and triggers, and today we're talking about opportunity cost and the obstacles that we face when we're trying to open ourselves up to these possibilities. Again, today's show is about is for you if you've been holding your brilliance hostage, right? Waiting for a platform to really speak and calling, silence humility. All right, when it's really just you living in fear. Okay. All right. Our session is really about um letting go of the lie that visibility requires permission. All right. Listen, I know when we was little, we had to ask permission for everything, right? Can I go outside? Can I do this? Can I talk? Can I sit down? Can I go to bed? Can I do this? Right. But as this grown age of an adult, right, we don't need permission. So you don't need another sign. You just need to stop shrinking. Okay. I got a question for you on this morning. What's one space in your life where you've been holding back the light? Okay. And what would change if you gave yourself permission to show up as your full self? All right. All right. So what if the thing, and I'm actually, what if the thing that you're calling humility is actually fear? All right. What? Fear of being seen, fear of being misunderstood, the fear of being too powerful, right? You've been taught to wait your turn, okay? To not be too much and to really tone down, but your gift wasn't designed for you to shrink. It was designed for you to shine. All right. This was a huge life lesson for me, right? That your gift, it wasn't meant for you to tone down, right? It was meant for you to shine, right? But it's the duality of life, right? And in the duality of life, there's the right and the left, the up and the down, right? As above, so below. And so this same gift that life is calling to be birthed out of you, calling you to step in, is possibly the same gift that you were shamed for, that you were punished for, that you were judged for, right? In some way, shape, or form in your relationships, in your culture, at school, right, with your friends, in your family, right? And now life is saying, hey, that thing that you buried way, way, way back deep inside of you so that you wouldn't get hurt. Yeah, I need that from you now. All right. And the more life starts to call that from you, the more uncomfortable things get on the inside, the more dis-ease we experience, the more displeasure we experience, right? This kind of lack of fulfillment until we really start to step into this, our, destiny, if that's what you want to call it. All right. Listen, my why for today's session. So this session is really personal. All right. It's for everyone who had a vision, who has the vision, the voice, and the value, but has been hiding it, okay? Not because you're unsure, but because you've been trained to really wait, all right? And this is a day that we stop, right? Stop wanting to be picked and start choosing ourselves. Listen, I understand what's coming up in my spirit is even sometimes in relationships, right? Male, female, like we will hide this aspect of us, all right, to be chosen, to be picked, to, you know, to be picked and to be chosen, and just waiting for that part of us to be able to emerge again in this relationship. And it could have been years and years and years, right? And maybe we hid that because we felt like the person that we were with, or that the person that the person that we chose, the job we chose, the friends we chose, wouldn't accept that part of us. And at that time, right, the value of that friendship, that relationship, wherever it is, the relationship with your job, your friend, or whatever, was more important, right? And now you're just waiting for the opportunity to be able to express this part of you, or you're feeling some resentment. Okay, you're feeling some resentment because you know that the full you is not being experienced at this time. All right, all right. Um, so again, you've been hiding, not because you're unsure, but because you have been trained to wait. All right. You've been hiding, not because you're unsure of this thing, but you've been trained to wait. And this is the day that you stop again. Stop waiting and pick and start to choose you. Okay. Our disclaimer for this morning: awareness that you're hiding is just the beginning. All right. But real freedom really comes when you decide to show up. Okay. When you decide to show up anyway. Visibility is not about ego, you guys. It's about alignment. You know, and you don't need a stage. You just need an agreement with your own voice. Okay. You just need to be in agreement with your own voice. Again, we're at Project Life, all right? And a big part of Project Life, so I want to thank you for being here. It's Transformational Tuesday, so good morning, okay? But before we take our deep breath on this morning, I'm welcoming you back to Project Life, which is a part of, I welcome you back to Life Lessons, which is a part of Project Life. And Project Life is truly this initiative where we turn theory into practice, all right? And it's so much information coming at us, and we have so much wisdom. All right, we have so much knowledge. All right, we have so much information, and it's not that, right? It's the application of what we know that is the block, right? It's like, I know I need to eat healthy, right? But why am I not? I know I need to communicate and choose myself, but why can I not do that? I know that I need to have tough conversations, but why can I not? Right? It's like, I know what to do. I just don't know how to do the thing that I know I should be doing. All right. And so a part of this project is to take the theory of knowing and put it into practice and really give you permission, right, to feel again. Because a part of activity is this feeling, right? Helping your nervous system to feel safe, or acknowledging that, hey, this new thing that you're doing is not safe to your nervous system, right? And so in some way, you're going to have to grow up real fast, right? You're going to have to step into your big girl jeans or your big man pants, right? And do some things that you have not allowed yourself to step into and do because it didn't feel right, right? It didn't feel safe, it didn't feel good, right? And the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of us are stuck, right, in this uncomfortable feeling, but we're not willing to step out of the uncomfortable feeling because of the uncomfortable feeling. All right. And it's like, well, you get to choose your uncomfortability. All right. So either you're going to be stuck feeling uncomfortable, or you're going to choose to feel uncomfortable with the knowledge and the knowing that, but this uncomfortableness is not a long lasting, right? It's more, I know that there's going to be some relief at the end. All right. So this aspect of me that I'm hiding right now, this aspect of me that I won't allow to be expressed, from fear of judgment, fear of being seen, right? Fear of being heard, right? That has me uncomfortable. It has me frustrated. It has me annoyed. It has me feeling like nobody really knows me. Nobody really cares about me. And it really just has me bitter and resentful. And I've unplugged, all right? Because I don't feel seen and acknowledged and heard. All right. Now, that is very uncomfortable. But that uncomfortableness that you're sitting in right now is what I would call, you don't know the destination or the end to that, which is why then the mind just will cut off, right? It's a safety mechanism. So you will just, yeah, unplug. But if you choose, right, to get a coach, to get a therapist, to really challenge this and go through the uncomfortability, then that relief will start to happen. And you will start to feel the very thing you want to feel, which is a sense of fulfillment, a sense of love, a sense of connection, right, to yourself. And then start to attract the community and the type of people that you really desire and deserve for your life. All right. So again, good morning. It's Tuesday, Transformational Tuesday. All right, so let's take our deep breath. Let's breathe in all of that intro, right? And then, which is all about you, right? So let's breathe in you on this morning and then breathe out anything that's getting in the way. All right. All right. Listen, this is your time. No pressure, just your presence. Again, I want to welcome you back to Life Lessons with Dr. Sheila Little. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Sheila Little, creator of the Stop and Now Method, licensed master social worker, or licensed clinical therapist for the last 20 years, and the creator of this project, right? This project Life, where we turn theory into practice. So I want you to drop a chat. Let me know how you're feeling on this morning. I am well this morning. I graduated walking across the stage on Friday, so I'm pretty. I got the duality of anxiousness and excitement, right? Yeah, friend, family, gonna have a good time with them on this Thursday for the P. That's going to be recorded. Just the FYI, is going to be a recording because I will be on my way to my graduation. All right. So let's scan our bodies on this morning. Bring some compassion and love to all of our 750 billion cells. Again, so much is going on. So I really want to take this time to really focus on us and allow some relief just to happen in this moment. So feeling your feet on the floor. Okay. Up your legs. All right. Feeling your butt in the seat. If you're laying down, wiggling your toes, going up your spine. All right, up your spine, feeling your spine, this coming around to your rib cage and all the organs and things that's in your body, bringing some attention to your organs, thinking your stomach and your intestines, small intestines, big intestines, all of the nerves and all of that, your lungs, okay, your heart, your esophagus, all right, up your neck, all right, just kind of feeling the weight lift off of you, right? And then asking that spine to straighten up on this morning, just, hey, straighten up, right? And feeling each vertebrae just kind of straight up, right? Feeling your body just adjust as west. All right. All right. Down your arms, your elbows. All right. Activating your hands on this morning, up your neck. All right. Feeling your face, your jaw, your lips, your tongue, right? Your nose, your eyes, your forehead, the top of your head, your brain, activating your beautiful brain, right? All the cells, feeling that neuroplasticity happening as your brain is rewiring itself, right? Unlearning some behaviors and then downloading these new behaviors, right? All of the lobes doing what they're supposed to do, right? And balancing the brain, right? Because sometimes we can be a little more left brain, a little more right brain. So let's bring some balance to the brain and see our brain kind of balancing the rational and the creative side together. All right. Top of the head, crown chakra, allowing, right, for information to pour into us. All right. And then the space around us, right? If it's feeling too tight, just kind of pushing ourselves out on this morning. All right. If we're feeling like we're taking on too much because a lot is happening, right? Come back to the center, right? Feeling yourself back in on this morning. Okay. All right. Just blessing our bodies, blessing this day, giving ourselves a breathe. Okay. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Who is this session for this morning? It's for you. Okay. This session is for you if you've been waiting for a title to feel worthy. All right. This session is for you if you silence your gift that just won't feel good on God for hiding from fear. If you mistake in waiting on God for hiding from fear. All right. Basically what that says, you're really hiding and you're fearful, but you're calling it okay, I'm waiting on God. All right. Here's our powerful guiding quote for this morning. Okay. Your light does not need a license. All right. It needs your yes. All right. Your light, that light that's it needs your yes on this morning. Okay. And your continued yes, because it's not just a one yes. Okay. All right. It's the continued yes. It's like as if life is a domino, right? And so each domino is knocking itself down, right? And then you come to that one stubborn one that doesn't want to go and it's holding back all of the, all of the yeses. And so we just want to make sure that every day that we're saying yes, and through the moments of the day that we're allowing yes to exist. All right. And that we're not rejecting life. All right. And I know that we have this thing where we only want to accept the things that feel good. All right. And so we say yes to the things that feel good. Good morning, Miss Jackie. She said her connection is not great today. Okay. Well, hopefully that can get a little better. How you doing this morning, Miss Jackie? Okay. Um, so I think that we only want to say yes to the things that feel good. We only want to say yes to the things that in our minds require yes. But it's not just about saying yes to the things that feel good in this life, right? It's about saying yes to the things. All right. And that those things may not always feel good. They may not always feel right. They may not even always align with your yesterdays and what you're used to, right? But they require. She said, "I'm doing great with my internet. It's not spinning." I understand that. I understand that. Yeah, so our yes requires us. I mean, life is requiring our yes, regardless of if we're accepting of that yes or not. And a lot of us are stuck because we're not willing to say yes. And a part of saying yes is being in receptive mode, right? It's like receiving that, all right? Receiving that pain and even receiving that pleasure, because I think a lot of us don't even know how to accept, right? Good feeling things, right? Accept happiness, fulfillment. It's like, ooh, what is this? You being too nice, you being too kind, you being too honest, right? And so we're even a lot of times rejecting, right, our gift, our the pleasures that we pray about, God expand my territory, God, bring me friendships, bring alignment to my life, right? And then we see it and we so are not used to it that it creates some angst. And so we're even saying no to the things that we pray for. Okay. All right. So life is about saying yes. It is about saying yes and receiving it as it comes. Right. And then once I've digested it, what did I learn from that? And then how do I take that to my next yes? All right. And some yeses take a little bit longer to get to. Right. But yes is the switch on. That is the light. I see it. All right. And I'm accepting that. If it's accepting people for who they are, but more importantly, it's about accepting us for who we are. So again, it's about you shining your light and not hiding. Okay. All right. Because again, the title for today's life lesson is the permission to shine. All right. And this week we're talking about just being open to possibilities and really claiming your power and your focus. All right. And what is the obstacles and the opportunity cost of that? All right. So let's talk about this. You don't need another title again to be impactful. You don't need an audience to really carry authority. You don't need permission to shine. Today, it's really about calling back your visibility, not for attention again, but for alignment, you guys. All right. So I did something interesting on this morning. I brung the Bible verse up. All right. So I want to talk about the Bible verse. So today's Bible verse is biblical wisdom, because I wanted to kind of set the tone for today's session. So our Bible verse this morning is Matthew 5:14. All right. Which says that you are the light of the world. All right. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. All right. So that's Matthew 5:14. You are the light of the world. All right. A city on the hill cannot be hidden. The interpretation of this verse is truly that this verse isn't aspirational. It's a declaration, you guys. You are the light. All right. Already, right now, you are the light. Okay. All right. The question isn't whether you are worthy to be seen. The question is, are you willing? Okay. are you willing to be seen? So the question isn't, are you worthy to be seen? It's, are you ready to be seen? All right. I'm just looking for my notes. All right. So what does this mean on this morning? All right. This means that, okay, so this verse is about is a spiritual permission slip. All right. It's not saying that you should be light. It's just declaring. It's declaring that you already have it. All right. That you already are the light, that you don't have to earn it. Okay. And that you don't have to be picked. All right. Why? Because you are the light. But here's the deep truth. We've been taught to dim, all right, to dim that light in the name of humility, in the name of safety, and in the name of control. So instead of being seen, we stay small, okay? This verse doesn't just affirm your brilliance, you guys. It commands visibility. It says that you were never meant to be hidden, all right? You were never meant to be hidden. You were built for you were not built for the back row. You were built for the stage, right? And not even the side of the stage, the front of the stage, okay? You were built to be placed in the presence of rooms that shift, all right? And what are those rooms? Whatever room, your family, for your kids, for your friends, okay? For your co-workers, right? Not these big stages like a YouTube channel, but even the presence of the people that you entertain every day. All right. So it isn't about showing off. It's about showing up, you guys. And every time you speak truth, you shine. And every time you stop hiding, you lead. And every time your voice, right, you honor that, right? You activate healing for not just yourself, but for someone else. All right. Light isn't ego, you guys. It's alignment. Now I want to go back to this deeper truth that we have been taught to dim our light, right, in the name of humility, safety, and control, right? So instead of being seen, we stay small. What does that mean? Staying small is that thing that you want to talk about, and you're saying, I'm not going to talk about that because I don't want dot dot dot. That's a demonstration of playing small. It is something that you very much care about. It's something that you very much feel is important, something that you value, that you're not communicating because you don't want to feel the consequence. And here's the thing about that consequence. That consequence could be very much a true consequence to having this conversation. But guess what? It's also a projection because the last time, right? The last time, and this is where the ops turning obstacles into opportunities and really tying back to stories and triggers. The last time you probably did something like that, it probably did turn into an argument and you probably did get in trouble. And so the mind has mapped that and say, whenever you speak your truth, whenever you try to stand up for yourself, you're going to upset somebody, right? Somebody is not going to like it and you're going to have to defend yourself and so what you have based now or what you have now is a community, right? You've built a community of individuals that only reflect what you already believe. All right, what you already believe. So a lot of us is pointing a finger on the outside and saying, oh, they just don't listen. Oh, they just don't this. But a part of them not listening to you is a part of your belief as well. All right, that's a shared experience. And so this whole, standing up for yourself and being seen, again, it's not about and taking the stage in your life. Again, it's not just about like becoming like the number one influencer or having the best social media post. It's these whispers. It's the stuff that you want to say in your house right now that you ain't saying, right? It's the gifts. It's the business that you want to open or the book you want to write or the conversation you want to have with your current mate, right? About, shifting or some questions you may want to ask God, right? That you're not asking because you have this fear, right? Of being seen, right? Or in being seen, right? Is like may bring some judgment. All right. So today we're talking about the permission to shine, right? You don't need to be chosen. You just need a yes. Because the truth of the matter is you already been chosen. All right. All right. Our next verse. Good morning, little brick brother. I love you. Good morning, little big brother. All right. So our next verse, our promise verse on this morning is arise, right? Shine, for your light has come and the glory of God arises upon you. All right. So this verse is a really good verse um because this is not about a future hope, right? It's a present call. A rise isn't a suggestion, it's a sacred assignment. So there's an assignment that's already on you, and you're not waiting on God. Guess what? God is actually waiting on you. All right. So here's how this verse really ties into today's session and sets up our conversation for today. Listen, you're not waiting on light, you are the light. All right. The glory of the Lord rising up in you is not something descending from above. Guess what? It's the divinity from within, that from within you that is becoming visible, right? It's like the blossoming. And I love this word blossom because I just really do feel like if we look at nature, you get to see that we blossom. All right. Flowers blossom, right? Trees blossom, right? And somewhere, in some way, you see the emerging of you starting to be released and coming out, right? Even if you see animals, they shed skin, right? In some way, they have to let a part of them go so that they can grow and get bigger. All right. So a part of life is showing us that, listen, we are emerging from the inside all the time. And sometimes when we're too stuck, we got to let something go, right? So that we can take up more space, become bigger, and become greater, and stepping into what we were already called to do. All right. So listen, you are not waiting on light. You are the light, and the glory of God and the glory of the Lord rises up on you. It's not something that again descends from above. It's this divinity that is within you. So this isn't about a future prophecy, you guys. It's a present permission. Arise means stop shrinking. All right. And shine means to step into what's already true. Listen, it's not about striving for light. It's about accepting that you already carry a light. I don't care what you've done, good, bad, or indifferent, right? You all have light. We all have light that we bear, that we carry, that we have a responsibility to allow to shine. All right. Listen, too often we ask for clarity when we really need courage. All right. We're asking for clarity and we really need courage. You know that next step that you should take, right? But it ain't the next step that you should take. You want to know the next 10 steps. Like, what's going to happen when I take that step? And once I take that step, I need to know how the domino going to fall or what's going to happen after I take that step. And if I can't see what's going to happen after I take this next step, right, then I'm not going to take that step because I need to know, and I'm trying to control everything. And it's like, just take the next step, because in that step is going to reveal to you the next thing you need to know. Because a lot of us know that even if you knew the next 10 steps, and you are the most controlling person and you're trying to control everything, you realize that you don't control nothing, right? And all this preparing, you could prep for an event, you can prep for life, you can prep for, it's still going to be stuff that come in that just knock you, a little off, right? That send you on a detour, right? Because you can never be fully prepared. But what you do know, and you do have clarity about this next step, and then allow that information to take you to your next yes or your next step. All right. Listen, again, you don't need more signs, you need agreement. All right. You don't need another open door. You need the boldness to really walk through it, right? You don't need another open door, another opportunity. You need the boldness to walk into the opportunities that's right before you, which is you, right? And you don't need permission to shine because the light is already on within you. Together, listen, these verses don't just ask you to become something new. They remind you of who you always been. All right. Matthew 15:14 gives you identity truth, that you are the light. And then Isaiah 60 and 1 gives you the active truth to rise and walk in that light. All right. So this lesson isn't about ego. It's about energy. It's not about performance, but presence. It's not about being perfect, but it's about giving yourself permission. So the question isn't if you were meant to shine. The question is, are you fully ready to say, Yes. Are you fully ready to say yes? Listen, yesterday we explored what if you were meant for more. All right. And today we're going to step into more by really confronting where you've been hiding. All right. So let's name it, let's face it, and let's really flip the script on how you've been showing up in your life. All right. So let me tell you about one of my clients. She had a strategy, right? She had the solutions, and I would say she had the anointing, but no voice in the room, right? So she had the strategy. She was very smart. She had the solutions, and she had an anointing on her, but she had no voice in the room. So she waited to be chosen until she realized that she already was chosen. You guys, in one bold meeting, right? She spoke up, with one clear opinion, one yes. And guess what? Everything shifted. All right. Because she really stopped waiting and she started to activate. All right. She said yes to a project. And from that project and being able to speak and step into her truth, a truth that had been there. But guess what? When it was time for her to speak, the voices in her head got to her and she didn't say anything. But this day, okay, she said yes. All right. So let's pause and do our heart moment right now. All right. I want you to think about one dream or truth that you've been hiding because you're waiting for permission. All right. Because you're waiting for permission. Think about this. I want you to pause. What's one dream or one truth again that you've been hiding because you've been waiting for permission? All right, listen, here's 5 things I want you to know. Humility does not mean invisibility. All right, listen, true humility is about honoring the power that God placed in you without arrogance, okay? But also without apology. All right, you can be humble and still stand firmly in your gift. All right. All right. A lot of us are saying that we want to be humble and, you know, humble yourself. And even other people will charge you with an offense. Like you need to be humble. I remember watching this thing on social media where it was like this guy, he was like, oh, that's your mom's money or whatever. And he was like, yes, it is my mama's money. And so what? And the guy go on and, kind of like antagonizing this guy because I guess it's a cartoon, but I guess because he had money or whatever. But at the end, the guy who actually brought that fence was like, oh, you need to humble yourself. And the dude's like, humble myself? Like you the one who charging me with an offense. How you gonna then turn around and tell me to humble myself? A big thing that people will try to do is when they, have feel like they've lost, they will try to make you the offense, right? And one of those offenses is you need to be humble. You need to humble yourself. And again, that's just a response to an individual that doesn't really know how to communicate. And what we will do is take that as true and we will start to shrink. And you don't have to, okay? Because you can be humble and still stand fully in your gift and in your confidence and in the person that God created you to be. All right. All right. Listen, another thing I want you to know that shrinking does not protect you, it exhausts you. You've heard me say this before. Listen, you were designed to really fold yourself into spaces. You were not designed to fold yourself into spaces that hold your full light. All right. That can't hold your full light. All right. Being bold is you saying yes to God, not saying look at me, not saying look at me to the world. All right. Let me read that again. There are things you're called to do. All right. Okay. Shrinking does not protect you, it exhausts you. So you were designed to fold yourself. You were not designed to fold yourself into spaces that can't hold your full light. All right. The longer you hide, the heavier it becomes to really carry your brilliance in to really carry your brilliance in silence. All right. Another thing, boldness isn't arrogance, it's obedience, you guys. So there are things that you are called to do, and playing small delays that call. All right. Being bold is you saying yes to God and not saying, look at me to the world. All right. Again, boldness isn't arrogance, it's obedience. All right. So there are things you're called to do. I want to stop right here because there is this thing of timing, God's timing, divine timing, right? And then there's our timing, our fears, right? and the things that we know that we're delaying, that has nothing to do with God's timing. All right. Now, life wants to birth an initiative. Life needs things to happen. All right. And sometimes things are given to you, downloads, ideas, creative thoughts, or whatever, right? Because that needs to be birthed into this community. All right. And if you don't do that thing when you're inspired to do it, then you will end up seeing it. Somebody else did it, right? And somebody else bring it to community, and you're thinking, oh my God, like I just thought about that, or that's something I need to do. So that's one way that I feel like God's divine timing. But then there's this gestational period in us for our own timing, for our own growth, for our own maturity, right? That it has to do with community, but not as much as it has to do with your sustainability and your growth and your development, right? And your peace. All right. And this is where I think we get halted a whole lot, right? In us maturing, in us changing, in us adapting to life as life is calling us. All right. All right. And us being obedient to this call. All right. So there are things you're called to do, and not playing small is delaying that. All right. And so your life is being delayed because you're not taking on the cause. You're not having the conversation. Okay. I had a meeting with one of my clients on yesterday, and this client was holding back a divorce. All right, so this client had been like, I just, I don't know, like I still want to be married, and really holding back this divorce. So much so that they just got stuck. Right? They have two businesses, and they're in this middle of this divorce. And so when they came to me, they were really just stuck, right? This divorce needs to happen. I feel like I'm not showing up in my business, and my businesses are failing, all of this stuff, but I still want to be married, and I still want to work this thing out. So a part of our conversation was really just about movement. Okay, let's get some things done. All right. So this individual started to show back up at work, right? Had to fire some people, really realizing that people were stealing from the job, right? Had two great successful businesses, started to really do the other business, get active, end up hiring the individual because the divorce, they also, were partners in business. So learned how to really start to navigate, right, business with this individual, right? So this person is feeling good and lively. And guess what? They turned in their divorce papers, accepted that this relationship is over, and I'm going to put these papers in. Soon as they put the papers in, their business is doing good. Guess what? The opposite mate comes to them and is like, I'm ready to be in relationship. Can you move back in? Now, this person, when I tell you, like that 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, that analogy, that's what this person felt like they did. I went through all of that and this and that. And what I had to get this person to see is that no, you're moving energy, right? So you wanted to know if this person wanted to be with you, but that answer was not going to come until you started to move. And when you started to move in your business, and you started to move right in these businesses, and started to fire people, move stuff, and activate your life, and now you turned in the papers, right? Now life is coming back to answer all of that stuckness, the stuff when you were sitting in the house, and and just asking questions, and you're on the call with me, and I'm like, hey, we need to get up, we need to do something, right? And I'm encouraging you, and I'm moving you, and now life is responding and saying, hey, is this still what you want? All right. And that was just such an eye-opening experience for my client, because everything that all those questions had started to become, or life has started to answer those questions. That makes sense. Put a 1 in the chat, right? Life has started to answer these questions as this person started to move and be obedient to his call. All right. Now, a lot of us, that we're stuck, right? Because we're not moving, and we're asking life to, show me this and do this and do this. And guess what? Now, I'm going to say this. I have to give this caveat. He was very upset, right? very, very upset, because he just felt offended. Like, how you gonna ask me now after I put the divorce papers in and this, that, and the other? And we have to shift focus. Like, it's not about that, right? It's about what do you want to do now and how do you want to move forward? Because you're ready to go back, and you ready to go back into this defense. And we can go there, but it's really about what do you want to do now? All right, so we can continue to move this energy, right, and this emotion. And it was a very good conversation, but I'm bringing this up because in his movement, in his obedience, life started to answer, right? And a lot of you are stuck because you are not moving. You're waiting for life to do something that you already have all the answers to do. Just start to move. Just start to perform. Listen, because there are things that you're called to do. All right. And you playing small is delaying that call on your life. And him being stuck in that house for 6 months up to a year, waiting to see what was going to happen in his relationship, right? He had to get activated, right? His playing small was delaying his call on his life, on his employees, right? On his job started to dilapidate, started to dissolve, right? His bills were going behind, right? And he was called to show up, to be this person and have some reverence over this call that he was being placed on, but he had allowed himself to get stuck. All right. So being bold in this case is saying yes to God, and this is the God in you, all right, and not saying, "Look at me, at the world," right? In this case, and I'm using this example because I do feel like he was like wanted his wife to see him, wanted something from her before he could move, and it's like, no, let's move. Let's get this energy moving. And it's counterproductive. I mean, it's counter intuitive to what he had been taught. All right. Another thing, alignment attracts what performance cannot. All right. So when you are aligned with what you really are, right, you draw the right people, the right opportunities, and the right resources. No hustle, no pretending, just presence rooted in your purpose. Listen, alignment attracts what performance cannot do. All right. This is why it's important for you to know your values. All right. Know what you stand for, know your standards. Another word for standards is boundaries. All right. So you can start to attract, right, what your performance cannot. And again, when I'm talking about performance, it's just that doing what do I need to do? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? And not who do I need to be? All right. And sometimes we're not even calling a whole person to us. We're calling aspects of people into our life. What do I mean about that? It could be like the most disrespectful person to everybody else, but they can be the most, I don't know, kind and generous person to you because it's an aspect of them that you're calling in that moment. And I think a lot of times we are looking for like this whole person to show up in perfection. And it's like, listen, you are aligned to aspects of people, places, and things. All right. And when I'm talking about alignment, it's how do I attract and align with the aspects of this job, of this relationship, right? That is aligned with my highest values. And I can see that in a person, right? And I don't have to judge their past or what they've done to see this aspect of alignment. We share the same values here. Okay. All right. Does that make sense? Put a heart in the chat. All right. So again, alignment attracts what performance cannot. And sometimes we're performing, right, to get the yes. We're doing stuff to get the yes. We're doing stuff to get the thing that we want. And when we catch it, we realize that it wasn't even what we wanted, or that we got bamboozled, right? And it's because you're performing, all right, versus being you. And if you don't know what being you is, then seek out the help, right? So seek out the help so you can start to become, all right? And then last but not least, God already said yes. So you're just catching up. So listen, stop praying for the green light. You already have it. All right. The waiting season in the moment you realize that you are already qualified. Right. So your waiting season ends once you realize that you're already qualified. Now it's time to really move, right? Move into your qualification. Listen, we often confuse waiting for wisdom, but sometimes waiting isn't is just spiritually sounded fear. All right. All right. But sometimes waiting is just fear in disguise. Okay. Why this matters? Because every day you delay your yes, someone else waits for what? For the medication that you carry. If it's your kids, if it's your spouse, if it's your employees, if it's your peers, if it's an aspect of you, right? When you delay your yes, something is has to wait for that medication that only you carry. All right. You're the antidote. All right. And so your alignment frees others. All right. And when you rise, you actually start to rise others. All right. Listen, a client that I worked with from Life Lessons actually stopped downplaying her work and finally launched her course. Right. It sold out in 3 days. Okay. Let me tell you this. Research shows that internal permission, which is agency over your life, is more predictive of success than external praise. What that mean? What does that mean? I'm gonna say this again. Research shows that internal permission, which is agency over your life, right, is more predictive of success than external praise. What that means is that you can have all the yeses. You can do it. Go. You got this. You're beautifully and wonderfully made. All of that external praise, right? And still not do anything with it, right? Because you need internal permission. You need the yes to come from within. You need to have agency over your life. That your yes is coming from you. Because even if you're being inspired and motivated by others, it still only can last so long, which is again representatives. We hear about this word representatives. Oh, when you meet somebody, you meet their representatives, and after 90 days, what the representative leaves, right? Because it only can, that external motivation only can last so long. Like when I met you, I saw you, and in my mind I thought, who do I need to be to get you? And that was my motivation. So I'm gonna be kind, I'm gonna speak mild, I'm gonna be nice, right? I'm gonna say yes, 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 sir. Right? I ain't gonna let you see the clothes in my closet that's piled up, right? I ain't gonna let you see the dark sides of me, right? Because I am being externally motivated by your presence and my desire for you. So I am in performance. All right. But guess what? I only can do that for so long. I only can do that for so long. And that's again for in relationship, for a friendship, for a job. I only can perform that for so long. I need an internal agency of my life for me to sustain whatever it is. I need a yes. I need a yes from inside. All right. All right. So you don't need another confirmation, you guys. You just need activation, right? You just need to be activated from the inside. And a lot of us have to dig deep to get that activity. To get that activity. I know one of my clients, um, she started working with me a couple years ago. All right. And, I think that there was a lot that she wanted for her life, but again, it was the activity, right? And now when I talk to her, just like, oh, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I'm like, wow, your activity level has increased. You know why though? Because it wasn't about her external life anymore. It wasn't about the request from her audience, whoever that audience was, if it was, her mate, her children, her grandchildren, the congregation, right? Her peers, her friends. It was this internal, what she felt like she needed to do with her relationship with God. And to see that and experience talking to that level of activity from the inside, right? It's so fulfilling to hear that. Right now, this individual still has emotional things going on, right? But the agency, the yes from the inside, that emotion gets ate a little different. It digests a little different, a lot different actually, right? And that is what you want, isn't it? right? This thing about life is not to avoid pain. It's not about avoiding pain. It's about being able to make pain digestible enough, because it's going to be a part of life. It's going to be a part of life. But a lot of us are avoiding it at any cost, even at the cost of ourselves. All right. We don't want to be uncomfortable, because I think that uncomfortable triggers, I'm wrong. Something's wrong. This is not supposed to be happening to me. And it's like, well, why wouldn't it happen to you? It happens to every great person, and you're great. So that's why you're feeling that pain, right? It rains on the just and unjust. Okay. All right. So let's move forward. I have about, a little time to go over these essential truths. Okay, so we know that the O in stopping now is for obstacles and opportunity costs. So I want to tell you some truths. All right, I want to share these truths with you around obstacles and opportunity, especially when it comes to um being open-minded, right? Really opening our minds up to possibility. All right. Listen, again, the delay is costing you more than the risk. All right. So every time you hold back, you lose time, you lose energy and opportunity. So what you think is waiting for the right moment. So what you think is waiting for the right moment is often just quiet sabotage. All right. And a lot of you have been waiting for the right moment to have the conversation, to do the thing, to launch the business. And I have to just challenge this. There really is not a right moment, right? There's really not a right moment. Okay. It's just do it. All right. Because the longer you pause, the greater your potential cost. All right. And sometimes that cost is just knowing, knowing that this is something you could have did 3 years ago. And that grief, or sometimes that delay, is your temporal punishment, right? Is you punishing yourself, because this thing you could have done this 3 years ago and been 3 years ahead. And now you got to wrestle with that narrative in your mind. That ain't a God thing. That's a you thing. So a lot of times you need to do stuff so you won't have to go through the temporal punishment of what, once you do it, what'll happen in your mind. All right. Another thing, your silence has a spiritual price. All right. Every time you mute your voice, someone else misses your message. All right. Silence isn't neutral. It's actually expensive, you guys. All right. It's costing you your peace, your purpose, and your potential. Listen, silence. I know you've been taught that silence is a good thing, right? But sometimes your silence, you're paying a price for it. All right. And it's time to speak up. It's time to protect yourself and to advocate for you. All right. Now, I'm not talking about the type of silence. I'm not saying break your silence in this very argumentative, you finna argue with somebody and, and be disrespectful. That's not it. Right. But maybe you're silencing your yes. Right. Maybe you're silencing your yes to you. Let me say that. Right. So you're saying yes to everybody else, but you're silencing your yes to you. All right. And it's time to liberate you from that. All right. Visibility will often offend people who benefit from you shrinking. Okay. Not everyone will clap when you rise, you guys, and that's okay. All right. Some people are only comfortable when you are playing small. All right. So when you shine, or when when you shine, it will expose what they've been afraid to confront. So that's not your problem. All right. This is huge, because as you start to shine and allow your light to shine, it exposes fragments in people. All right. And sometimes it will make you want to dim your light. And I'm like, don't dim it. Don't dim it. Don't dim it. I've dimmed my light so many times. So many times. I sit here bold now with this, ring light, but in my life over time, right, there was so much dimming, turning down, adjusting, altering. And my body felt that. My body felt that, you know, And my mind, like I had to do so much forgiveness for it. And even when I see people now, I live in this great town called Saginaw, Michigan, and it's people who come to me like, you shouldn't be in Saginaw, Michigan, you should be in New York, or you should be in Chicago, or you should be. And I sometimes will allow that to be like, maybe if I wouldn't have shrunk, or maybe if I wouldn't have. And I'm like, no, I reconcile. I like Saginaw. My family's here. My parents are here. My kids are here. Uh, you know, and I can go anywhere in the world from this place, from my internet, and I've been all around the world, on different continents. So I feel okay, right? But when I was shrinking, that same statement, it did make me feel like, resentful, right? Because I've been hearing that since I was 20. Why are you still here? When I was a hairdresser, you should be doing hair somewhere else. Like, you're so good. And because I knew I was shrinking, it penetrated different, and it made me resentful and bitter, because I'm like, right. And if this person would have, or if I just would have, right? But now I can hold on to my decision to be here. And it's like, I hear you. I get it. But no, right? KNOW. Know that I see why you saying that, and maybe that's something you would do, but that's not my decision. All right. The whole point I'm trying to make is that your visibility will offend people, right? So as you rise, right? So no one will clap when you rise, and that's okay. Not everyone will, all right? And some people are comfortable, right, with you playing small. And me saying, hey, it was a lot of people comfortable in my smallness. And I played small to make them help comfortable, because I felt like as I started to rise, it started to make them uncomfortable. So let me sit my little butt down somewhere. Okay. Let me not say yes to me. And that came as at a cost. And what I realized is that them same people now, we on the opposite side of the spectrum. I didn't have to cut them off. I didn't have to do all of that. It's like, because it really wasn't about them. It's about me. You get one life. You get one life, right? And a lot of times we're giving it to other people, right? Because of how they feel and what they do, right? And it's like, no, God gave you this life though. So what you gonna do with it? All right. All right. So yeah, and when you start to shine with this life that God gave you, it's not going to make everybody comfortable, but it's going to make a lot of people comfortable. All right. That's the duality. It's not going to make everybody comfortable, but it's going to make a lot of people comfortable. All right. And now who you going to start looking for? The people that your light makes comfortable, or you're going to focus on the people that your light makes uncomfortable? You get to choose, because both of them exist. All right. All right. Um, Another thing I want you to know is the longer you wait, the heavier the fear gets. All right. There's this saying, like, if I held this coffee in my hand, like right now, it doesn't, affect me. But if, in 10 minutes, if I was still holding this as I'm going through the podcast, it will feel heavier. The same weight though. Right. And an hour from now, I probably couldn't even hold my hand up. Same glass, same coffee. Right. And I probably wouldn't be able to hold my hand up because the heaviness of it. I want you to know that the longer you wait, the heavier fear gets like that. Listen, fear doesn't fade over time. It strengthens in silence. Right. So the longer you stay silent, the longer you placate to that, the heavier that feels. All right. So delay allows doubt to grow, to get heavier, to feel heavier. All right. But boldness shrinks. All right. And boldness is me putting this glass down, right? Because it's heavy. Me saying yes to me because it's heavy. Keep saying no. All right. You learning to say yes to you. You going out and seeking help, right? And that boldness shrinks fear back to its size. And I like back to its size, because I'm not saying that fear isn't there. It's just not as big as you think it is. All right. Another thing, permission is an inside job. Listen, no one can give you what God has already did for you. All right. If you're waiting for someone to approve your calling, you just be waiting forever. All right. The breakthrough starts when you say yes to yourself. Another thing I want you to know is playing small will never protect you from your divine assignment. All right, listen, you can't hide from what you were created to do. The calling won't disappear because you delayed it. All right, it will get louder until you answer. All right, until you answer. Couple of more things. You're not behind. You're just resisting your yes. So you're not behind. You're just resisting a yes. Like I talked about, that domino effect. Like life is about the yeses. So the sooner you can accept the yeses as these dominoes fall and allow them to fall as they may, right? The more acceleration and momentum you get in your life. All right. All right. So playing small will never protect you from your divine assignment. All right. You're not behind. You're just resisting your yes. So there's no such thing as too late in the kingdom, right? Right. But delay keeps you in a false narrative. All right. And that false narrative keeps you feeling like you're unqualified. But the truth is, you're just holding back. You're just holding back what's already ready. All right. It's ready to be birthed. You hold the keys. You can unlock the door and let it out. All right. Okay. Boldness is alignment in motion. All right. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to be loud. You just need to be aligned, right? Boldness isn't about visibility of others. It's about really seeing yourself and your potential and your desires. All right. And it's walking like you believe in what you carry, because you carry greatness. It abides in you. All right. And you have the responsibility of believing that and stepping into that. All right. Because because your next level won't wait for your comfort. All right. The breakthrough rarely comes in perfect conditions. Again, I think that we're waiting for the perfect opportunity. And a lot of times things are just rarely comes in perfect conditions. It comes when you move anyway. You move with the fear. You move even in the lack of clarity. You move in the uncertainty, right? You're moving, all right? Because comfort is not a prerequisite. Courage is. So you're going, okay? And then last but not least, activation doesn't require a spotlight, you guys. Just agreement, all right? So you don't need a platform to start. You just need a yes. The moment you agree with your truth, guess what? Doors will begin to open and visibility begins with your voice. Okay. All right. So let's put this all into practice on today as we learn to let our light shine. Okay. As we come to a fact where we understand that permission to shine, like you don't need to be chosen, right? That um, you don't need to be chosen. You just need to say yes, right? Yes to you, yes to your life. All right. And that is a key in unlocking your potential. All right. And opening up your mind. All right. And change it from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. So let's put this in practice. I want you to write down where you've been holding back. Okay. And then I want you to say out loud, I no longer need permission. I am already called. All right. And then I want you to make a bold move, right? To speak it, to post it, or to pitch it. All right. All right. And then a journal prompt, if you need that, is where have you been waiting, or where have I been waiting to be picked? All right. And what part of me is already prepared to rise? Your affirmation for today is very simple. I give myself permission to shine. Repeat after me. I give myself permission to shine. All right. Your intention for this morning is today, I act like I believe I'm chosen. Very simple. I'm acting like I believe I'm chosen on this day. All right. And then your bonus. I want you to, post something bold in the group, post a comment, or say the thing that you've been holding in. All right. Write it down, go live, post it, however you want to do, but express this thing that you've been holding in. All right. Listen, um, we all know that I'm gonna do that call, that challenge, that charge. So I'm calling, I'm asking you, what truth are you walking away with today? I'm challenging you. What brave move will you make today? And then your charge. Listen, you wasn't created to blend in. You were called to be seen. All right. Listen, if this session resonated with you, okay, and and you are walking away with some insight today, I want you to drop a fire in the chat and let's celebrate our growth together. All right. If you're ready to stop asking for permission and start really leading with clarity and conviction, you already know the project is open for you, right? You can just go to sheetalittle.com/life, all right, to do that. And I want you to know that and remember this. If you can shape it in your mind, you can have it in your life. So I ask that you join me tomorrow for Gratitude Shift Wednesday when we're talking about the power is a practice, all right? Because your confidence isn't a personality, you guys, it's a pattern. And so your power is your practice. I want you to know this too, that you are not invisible, all right? You are not too late, all right? You are not too much. You are already light, all right? And today, you get the right to give yourself permission to shine, all right? I love you. I love you. I love you. And I will see you tomorrow for that life lesson. Till later. Till later.